Welcome. In this lesson, you are going to learn all about the different forms of the present simple tense. You can make the present simple tense using the to be verb. So this means you use am, is, are, depending if you are using it in first person, second person, or third person. Now I want to show you how to use the to be verb in the positive. So you can say, I am from Europe. You are from London. She is from Sydney. It is from China. They are from Mexico. We are from New Zealand. Basically, the only thing that changes is, depending on the subject, is whether we use am, is, or are. Now, let's form the negative. To form the negative is very easy because all you do is add not after the to be verb. Like, I am not from Europe. Am is the to be verb. After am, you add not. You are not from Germany. She is not from London. It is not from China. They are not from Australia. We are not from Sydney. Now let's create some yes-no questions. All you have to do here is reverse the first two words and add a question mark. So using the to be verb, once again, am I from Spain? Before you would say, like in the positive, I am from Spain. And now, reversing the first two words, am I from Spain? Or are you from London? Is she from New York? Is it from India? Are they from China? Are we from Europe? All we are doing is reversing the first two words, the subject and the to be verb. Now let's form some WH questions. And all we are doing here is adding a WH word in the front. Where am I? What is this? How are you? Why are you here? Who is Julie with? Notice that I have just added the question word in front of the to be verb. Now let's look at verbs other than to be verbs. So with all other verbs, you are going to use the method that I'm going to show you now to form the present simple tense. Now there are two main guidelines that you have to remember. Number one, if the subject is I, you, we, they, then just use the verb as it is. If the subject is he, she, or it, then add an s to the end. So if we take, for example, the verb walk, I walk, you walk, we walk, they walk. You just use it as it is. But if you say he walks, you add an s to the end. She walks or it walks, you have to add an s. Now, for a few words, when you have to add an s, the spelling also changes. If the verb ends with sh, ch, ss, x, double z, or o, then you just add es to the end. As you can see here, rush, rushes, teach, teaches, box, boxes. Now, if the verb ends with y, usually you just change the y to an I and add es, such as try becomes tries, cry becomes cries. Now the exception is, if before the y there is a vowel, then just add s. So buy becomes buys, pay becomes pays. So just keep that in mind. Now let's form the positive. And in my example, I'm going to be using the verb walk. So, I walk to work, you walk to work, she walks to work, it walks to work, and then they walk to work and we walk to work. Very easy, just adding an s. Now to create the negative, it's a little bit different over here because you have to add either do not or does not. So once again, here are the two rules for that. You use do not when the subject is I, you, they, or we. And you use does not when the subject is he, she, or it. Well, let me show you how you would use this. So in the negative form, I do not walk to work. You do not walk to work. She does not walk to work. It does not walk to work. And then they do not walk to work and we do not walk to work. So the only difference between the positive and the negative is we have do not or does not. Now let's create some yes/no questions. And once again, we use either do or does, depending on the subject. Do I walk? Do you walk? Does he walk? Does it walk? And then do they walk to work? Do we walk to work? It's just a matter of adding do or does in front of the subject. To create WH questions, you simply add the WH word in front and then followed by either do or does. Like I said before, depending on the subject. So it's where do I walk? Why do you walk? When does she walk? If I had an example of he, it would be why does he walk? Or why does it work? How do they work? And when do we walk? Okay, so you have just completed the first lecture on the different forms of the present simple tense. Next, I'm going to show you when you have to use the present simple tense. I'll see you then.